There are fast-moving developments in the Middle East. CENTCOM releasing dramatic new footage as U.S. forces continue to carry out these precision strikes all across Iran. It comes as President Trump extends a pause on striking Iranian power plants as he pushes to wind down the war. Let's get to Mike Tobin. He's in Tel Aviv. Good morning.
And as you mentioned there, Dana, the president has extended that deadline for Iran to allow ships to move freely through the Strait of Hormuz. The president says he's going to allow another 10 days for Iran to let those ships move. After that, he could begin striking power plants. The president wrote on Truth Social, I'm pausing the period of energy plant destruction by 10 days to Monday, April 6, 2026, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Talks are ongoing. Now, twice, Trump has extended the deadline, saying Iran reached out in good faith and gave a gift of 10 ships through the strait.
Not me. They're begging to make a deal. And anybody that saw what was happening over there would understand why they want to make a deal.
And Iran's surviving leaders have posted that they have never reached out for talks. The foreign minister says the U.S. acted in bad faith.
This war of aggression is blatantly unjustified and brutal. They initiated this aggression on 28 February, while Iran and the United States were engaged in a diplomatic process to resolve Americans' alleged concerns over Iran's nuclear program.
Meantime, the Israeli Defense Forces working just across the border in southern Lebanon. IDF soldiers located a tunnel network built under a Christian church. Israel says the use of civilian Christian churches for military purposes violates international law, and they say Hezbollah repeatedly exploits the Christian population in southern Lebanon, turning their places of worship into war zones. Dana?
Mike Tobin in Tel Aviv. Thank you.
Let's get some analysis right now from our man Dan Hoffman, CIA Chief of Station formerly. And Dan, good morning to you. Senator John Kennedy, Republican from Louisiana, kind of a rare voice in the Republican Party, said the following this week about getting out, like now. Watch.
As far as I'm concerned, it's time to get out. There will be those who say, well, the Iranian leadership is still a scam, and they could rebuild. But I will tell you this, we have inflicted massive damage on the Iranian government.
He is exactly right about that last part there, about massive damage on Iran. What is your analysis if the president were to say we're done at this point, Dan?
Yeah, I think it's important to remember that we began military action against Iran because we didn't have a deal on Iran's ballistic missiles, their nuclear program, and we wanted also to deal with their support to proxy terrorists in the region. Added to those three challenges that we continue to face is Iran's closing of the Strait of Hormuz. So we've got to get to those objectives. How we get there, whether it's through negotiation or continued airstrikes, potentially boots on the ground in some fashion, or some combination of all of those things, that's yet to be determined. But we need to get to the conclusion of this campaign and ensure that our strategic objectives are met.
Here's General Keane from Fox and Friends earlier about those military objectives.
They're trying to personally survive and keep the regime somewhat intact. And believe me, that is an enormous problem that they have. And on the 20-yard line, we're trying to get to the goal line, and the opposition is putting as much impediments in because they can see how close we are to attaining our objectives.
And yet, of course, Iran is trying to drive turmoil in the oil and gas markets. And at the same time, I thought this was very interesting when you pointed out that Russia is providing Iran with drones. And so there are many different players here. It maybe isn't so easy as us just saying, okay, we're done.
Exactly. Look, Russia wants this war to go on, I think, as long as possible, and they want to inflict as much pain on the United States and our allies as possible. Russia considers their war on Ukraine to be a proxy war against Europe and NATO and the United States by extension. And Russia's ally is Iran. Russia's been giving Iran drones and tactical intelligence, strategic intelligence, just as they gave the same sort of assistance to the Taliban so they could kill U.S. soldiers there. Iran has dispersed their ballistic missiles and their drones, what's left of them. And I agree with General Keane. We've got to finish the job. Iran wants to inflict as much pain on the oil and gas markets and cause as much turmoil as they can. If the regime survives, that's a victory for Iran, particularly if they don't have to meet our objectives regarding their future ballistic missile program, the nuclear program. And remember, there's 1,000 pounds of enriched uranium we need to find.
Sure is.
As
Yeah.
well as their support to proxy terrorists.
Dan, it's hard to see behind the curtain of diplomacy at whatever degree it's happening right now. What do you think this delay that the president announced yesterday until the 6th of April at least, what do you think that does on the battlefield?
Well, I think, remember, it's a delay in striking Iran's energy infrastructure, not a delay in our ongoing assault on Iran's defense industrial base with the airspace that we now control. So I think the president is indicating that he's ready to talk. He's always been ready to talk. I'm quite sure that behind the scenes, the CIA is collecting intelligence on the regime to determine whether there may be officials in the regime who might be interested in striking a deal to save whatever is left of their country and potentially have for some sanctions relief and economic growth down the road. But if those things don't happen, then we're going to use this time period, these 10 days, to put in place a plan to potentially to put boots on the ground. There have been some unconfirmed reports that the United States is considering sending as many as 10,000 troops into the region, and so we'll have to track that closely.
Dan, thank you. The weekends have not been quiet times, so we appreciate you kicking us off as we go into Saturday. Thank you. Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.